Well, it's another day. I'm continuing to work on this tractor since the weather's nice today. I did have this fuel pump on, which was used, trying to keep the cost down. OEM Briggs. But I had some fluid leaking out of the screen here. I'm not sure if it was gas or oil. Looked more like oil, but it may have been gas. So rather than take a chance with this 20-plus-year-old fuel pump, I got a new one. And I tried to stay with name brand. As you can see, this one has the Briggs logo on it, but it is still made by Mikuni. And that one is also a name brand Mikuni fuel pump. I would recommend trying to stick with OEM manufacturer fuel pumps, because I've seen where some cheaper pumps, the diaphragms inside of them get really soft and then they lose their I don't even know what you'd call it, their movement. And not even that, but you don't want to take a chance of a cheaper fuel pump popping and dumping fuel into your crankcase. So you'll see that this vent is on the bottom, so if this does happen to get any fuel leaks, it'll drip out the bottom long before it ever goes into the crankcase. So we're safe there. And being name brand, it's going to be a little bit heavier duty and probably longer lasting than a cheaper one. I did add a fuel filter to kind of act as a screen to the crankcase vent to stop any oil from pushing up out of that hole, just as an extra precaution. What's the next thing I fixed? I did replace the linkage up on top. I needed that for something else. Got a new one. I rebuilt the carburetor. I put a brand new needle valve in the seat and just put new gaskets in it while I had it, because you gotta buy the kit, and as an entire assembly, you can't buy the individual parts anymore. Not for a reasonable price. Anyway, I got them for iSave Tractor, so hopefully that'll fix our fuel leak. Got the air filter assembly on. That's fine. It did have a misfire, and there was some arcing at the points. I just had to clean them, and then that was fine. I haven't had any ignition issues since then. Re-gapped them. I think I have mentioned that I put the seat on it. Now, another thing I did is I had these bungee ties. I used one of these to hold the battery in. Kind of hard to see, but there's a hole where the wiring comes in from underneath the frame. I fished one of these, the ball end from underneath, came up over top, and put it onto the stud right there to keep the battery from moving around, so that works. Adjusted the carb, checked all the oil levels. The transmission is not leaking, which is a big plus. It's been shifting really good, running really good. I'll even show you right now how nice it runs. It's warmed up right now because I was just driving it. Fires right up. No smoke. Yeah, this thing is running absolutely perfect. There's no smoke, no noises, no rattling. Very good throttle response. It doesn't have a lazy governor or anything like that. I do still have to get some tape for the seat. I'll do that later. But I think we're finally at the point where we can start fixing the snowblower. So let me get this tractor out of the way, and we'll get the snowblower over here, and I'll get the welder out. We'll start doing some welding on it. I have all the parts to fix that snowblower as well. Okay, here's the snowblower I'm going to get going to sell. One of them anyway. So if we look at the back of this, this is pretty rust-free. This edge is all nice and clean. There's no holes back here. It's not pushed up against the belt guard. Now I'm going to hold the auger to keep that from spinning. Show you the slack in the chain here. So we're going to have to adjust the chain. That's just a matter of loosening that nut and this nut, and then moving this shaft back away from the auger. And I'm not going to go crazy trying to make this thing pristine, because it's got a few issues. If we in here, you can see this is bowed back a little bit, and this actually has a low spot worn into it because it's been run on a driveway with this bend for a very long time. So for me to try and straighten this out is going to be inhibitive, because then this is going to be high in the center and it won't snow blow properly. So I'm just going to leave that alone. Can't see it from this side. There's some cracks. I'll show you when I get it flipped over. I do need to straighten this arm out, so I'm going to have to get the torch and hopefully I can bang this out with the sledge, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. This needs to be perpendicular. It's kind of twisted this way. It's supposed to be this way. Maybe I can get that with my adjustable trick, but I'm probably also going to have to put some weld to reinforce this so it doesn't bend again. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out as I go. Tabs are okay. They're not rusted out. I have the PTO right there for the long frame. I have another PTO back over there for a short frame. I need to take that actuator off because that is actually a original Simplicity actuator. It does not work on this blower body because it does not have the holes here. But I'll show you on another one how this would have worked. In the future, I'm going to have to do that in the future because I don't have one here. But there's, in some snowblower bodies that are designed for this actuator, there's 2 holes right here. And then there's 2 holes up here, just like these. And then you would take the bracket here and move it over here where the rod would connect. And then you might have to drill a hole for some clearance, and then the actuator spins this direction laterally. But I want to put that on my own tractor. So I'm going to take that off, and I have the parts over here to fix it. So here's the manual shoot angle. We'll straighten it out and get that working. It's got a cable on it, that's good. I also have a skid shoe for it I'm going to put on it. Another one I'm going to have to take out for sale because we're going to get rid of the one tractor is, I need to get this snowblower together. I have all the parts. I also have the PTO here to put that all together, and I'll sell that. That's actually a bit of a Frankenstein. I had a good 36-inch snowblower, and then I had a bad 42-inch. The 42-inch was rusted really bad in the center, and it was getting holes in it and getting beat in. So I took the cutting edge and the outside half and had a shop friend weld. He also reinforced that bottom edge. You can see he added some reinforcement. Put that outer housing onto the 36-inch blower, and then we're going to reuse the auger because the auger is okay. Going to have to clean this up for the bearings. And then we'll put that together and get that sold. That's a good example of what the bracket's supposed to look like, so we just got to bend that straight. This one doesn't have the holes for that actuator either, so not a big deal. We'll continue on. So if you look at the auger in the front, sorry about the skip there. I'm going to try and straighten this out a little bit. I'll try and straighten that out a little bit. This isn't too bad. I think I'm going to leave that alone. That's not broken. I'll try and straighten this out a little bit. This side seems to be okay. It's mainly this side that's pretty well banged up. But the top of it is pretty solid. Bearings are spinning nice and free. I'm not going to worry about the noise because we want to keep the cost down if we can. So, went to take everything apart so I can tighten up the chain on it. And noticed a couple issues. First of all, this pulley was flipped around the other way where it was perfectly centered on the snowblower body, which is good for the short frames, but on the long frames we need it off to the side to match this idler pulley. This being the tensioner side of the belt, and this being the pull side of the belt. So as you can see, our line with our pulley is actually off to the side, and when I turn this pulley to the other side, you can see the keyway in the center of the hole. We still need to go over about, I don't know, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. So there's actually some shims in here. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. So I'm going to try and take these shims off and put them over here, because even when I'm over here, my sprockets aren't lined up either. So we'll move this whole shaft over a little bit, and I can also loosen these clamps a little bit and move it over more as well. This clamp, these 2 clamps actually hold the shaft here in the middle, and then that bolt, and This bolt is what you loosen on the body to adjust this bar forward and backwards. This bolt you loosen to adjust the belt guard. This keeps the belt from coming off. It looks like I'm going to have to get some belt debris or something rubbed off of here because that's a mess in there a little bit. But either way, I'm going to try and get this all lined up. And I'll turn you guys back on and give you an update. Okay, here's the belt after we've done all of our alignment. Now the PTO is off to the left side of the machine, so there's going to be somewhat of an angle, but at least we've matched it where it's nice in line with the pulley that's on the hitch. That's facing straight. We took 2 shims out from in here and then flipped the pulley 180 so the set screws on this side instead of this side. Tighten everything down so we got a good bite on the key. There's 1 set screw and 1 well, I should say there's 2 set screws. One's on the key and one's on the shaft. They're both tight. Set my belt guard because you don't want this rubbing the bottom or the top, so that's clear. It does not line up with the original hole to lock it tight like it used to, but this keeps it from turning. So as long as these are tight so the shaft doesn't spin, then this belt guard will stay in place. Make sure this belt guard isn't turned too far forward or back. So you can see that should be fine. I might have to adjust it on the tractor later on. I might have to move that because it had rubbed the back of the belt before. You can see where it's got a little bit of a cut. Next thing is I tighten up the chain so I don't have that slop anymore like I had before. I also had to tighten the set screw down here. That one was a little bit loose. And it's hard to see, but there's a gap between this shaft and this case. Just like this one. I tried to match that gap on both sides. So it's like an 1/8 inch and 3/16 on this side. Try to keep them parallel if you can. So now I am going to put some grease in here and put the cover back on. This one bolt right here, there's a 9/16 and there's a 5/8 jam nut on the inside right here. It might be a 9/16 on some others, and then there's another Loctite nut here that holds a space out for the cover. So this jam nut will go up against the inside of the cover. You might have to back this out or in to get the cover to sit correctly without it getting pulled in. Looks like the chain's actually been grinding this one bolt a little bit. It's actually worn away, but that's not a big deal. So I'll make sure all these bolts are tight and start putting it together. Okay, I'm not sure whether you're going to see, but I got some cracks I got to weld in here. There's also one crack that runs this direction. I think I'm going to see if I can't put a bolt in here with some vice grips to clamp this together and then weld the bolt to the cutting edge. Same up here. And probably cut off the excess or something like that, because the nut's just going to rub right off on the ground. I might just put the bolt in from the bottom and then up into the top with a washer, because I don't think the bolt stud's going to stick out far enough to catch any snow. That'd probably work. Like I mentioned before, this snowblower isn't really in all that great a shape, so we're just going to make it so it works, and that'll be good enough. Because a working snowblower is better than no snowblower when you get a lot of snow. Okay, I got my plan B. Rather than do welding, I just got some carriage bolts and then cinch that down nice and tight. I'm going to do the same up here and down there. So just some carriage bolts with some washers, 1/4 Okay, that should be out of direct sight of the weld. Hopefully it won't hurt the camera in any way. burning through a little bit? Yeah, it is. Pretty thin stuff there. It's gonna take a couple sticks to fill that one in. We'll get it. Stop burning on me! Ay, ay, ay. Just keeps blowing away a little bit. I might have to find something to fill that in, but I don't really want to spend that much time. On the insulation or something? Oh, that's why. Put it in the right way. Yeah, that's fixed. It's not pretty, but there's no more holes or cracks. And it's not flexing. It's not flexing anywhere. That's not going anywhere. So I'm gonna call that one good. I just gotta get the snowblower flipped over so I can get to the other side, because this one's got a crack in it too. And you can see the crack better from the outside, so we gotta weld that in here. At least it's not running this way like the other one did, so we just gotta weld that. That one shouldn't be as hard. But I'd rather weld it on the inside because the skid shoe has to go on the outside, and I don't want to make a huge lump on the outside. It's penetrating pretty good. It's not blowing through. Oh, I need that. Oh, it just fell out. Bugger. That made a big hole. I'll fill it in. I think I'm gonna have to put you guys on pause because this one's gonna suck to fill in. It was going good until I got towards the end and it just all fell right off. I forgot I still had to put some skid shoes on this thing. I went out to my parts yard and found some good shoes to put on it with hardware. This side is not hot, the other side is at this moment. So I can do this one for now. Bolts are gonna go on the inside. And then the washer, lock washer, and a nut. I'm just going to get these slapped on quick. I got to adjust them a little bit better once I get them on the tractor on a level surface, and we'll go from there. But this will be just for getting it going for now. Sorry if my head's in your way. Oh, Kaylin's here. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but I don't think I need to put the camera on for that. I think you guys get the idea. Hoping you guys can see this okay, but I like to grab myself a nice big adjustable wrench. I can usually put it on here and straighten these out pretty easily. It's never going to be perfect, but we can straighten it out and make it a lot better than what it was. Man, this thing got hit pretty hard off of something. This one. Oh, that one's not much better. I'm going to grab a pipe wrench and stick it in, see if I can't stick it in this hole in the back and give it a twist. I think I might have said pipe wrench, I meant pry bar. So I'm going to stick that in this hole to twist that wrench. After I get it on there, to open it up a hair. There we go. Getting there. Make sure you don't use an expensive adjustable for this. You want a cheapy one. I wouldn't do this with a one that you love. This is a cheap hardware store one. This isn't a tool manufacturer brand. I call that good enough. Move on to the next spot over here. If I can keep the auger from spinning, I can probably get this one. Boy, we're getting there. Not many snowblowers you can't fix using this method. This works pretty good. Okay. I'm not going to get that one out. That's all pretty well mollered. Even if I bend that back, it's probably just going to Even if I try and straighten this one out, it's going to bend right back. So that's good enough. Oh, this one's a little bit... This one's pretty out of whack. I'll straighten this one out a little bit. Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. Well, it's better than it was. That really should be welded, but I'm not really worried about it. You get the idea. I'm gonna go work on the other side. Well, I got the snowblower all together. See, I got the cable wrapped up on that. I had to move this bracket. The bracket's off a different style snowblower, so it's at a different angle than what it originally was, but I'm hoping it'll clear the hood. Now what I like to do is I like to grab right here and lift that up, and then I can push with my leg to get the snowblower up in there and get that mounted up. What we have to do is we have to hook that onto the axle. You can see this cutout right here goes right here. You can see there's a hole back here and a hole back there that we need to line up. So let me get that put on and we'll make sure we have the clearance for the rod. Okay, you can see I'm hooked up onto the frame now. I'm sorry, the axle. So I'm kind of reaching in from behind, feeling where the hole's kind of sitting. Get an idea on where I need to force this thing to go. I think I need to just pry it down a hair. Get that pin to go in. Right. Whichever. I'm going to use this pin to move that hitch until I get the hole lined up, so I can get the correct hitch pin in. I just used one of the junk skid shoes as a spacer and adjusted the skid shoes on both sides. They're tightened up now. I'd say it's about 5/8 to 3/4 inch up off the ground. Should be good. Now I gotta hook up the lift arm, and then we'll hook up the belt. Okay, I just added a spacer here because this collar was getting stuck on this lip, because this is a little bit twisted, but that won't hurt anything. It'll still be playing strong. I adjusted the down pressure. This is the spring that puts pressure down on the ground so it doesn't pick up. And then this adjusts your overall height when you pull the lift up, and then basically your highest point and your lowest point is adjusted by here. You adjust it up, it's going to pick it up higher, but it won't drop as low. If you drop it down lower, it'll go down lower, but it won't pick up as high. So I can pick that up now. I'm going to make sure those jam nuts are good and tight. Okay, to put the belt on, we're going to need to take the tension off of the mid-PTO. And we're going to have to take a note of which side is the feed and the return. So this one goes to the idler on the top. So we're going to be returning on the top and pulling on the bottom. So I should be able to just slide that on like that. That goes there. All right. Oh, I gotta go underneath the park rod. There's a parking brake in my way. That should go up like that. Now I think we have to go onto the deck V, which will be the inside V on this clutch, not the outside. Okay, and that can go there, and then that can go there. I don't know if you can see, I'm on that the inside pulley. And looks like we're all set good. I think we're good in the front as well. We should be able to go to the back here and tighten this up. Check our tension. Let me set you on so you can see our tensioners staying good and tight. Now let's double check the pulley on the front. That all looks good. I definitely have plenty of clearance under there, but I'm going to lift this all the way up and make sure the belt doesn't rub anywhere. It's going to be hard to get the camera in. And I'll set it down to make sure the belt doesn't rub, because there is a guard. Well, what I can do is I can kind of follow this belt and up to that guard and make sure that it's got clearance. It's not rubbing up against it underneath there. I also checked the clearance on this hood. I had to tweak it a little bit. But I do have clearance that's not rubbing. And you can very easily reach this adjustment. No problems there. Maybe I can pull this up a little bit to get rid of a bend here, but getting really close to time for our test run. Okay, I got all my tools pretty much out of the way. So let's fire it up. I'll pull the choke, turn the key. I'm gonna call that a win. So yeah, it's ready to put up for sale. It's not leaking anymore. Oil level's good. Engine's running good. PTO works. So it's good to go. Tires are holding air. So I'm probably gonna be taking this down to Jacktown show. I think the show is 18th and 19th of May. So maybe you'll see me there. Anyway, if you liked the video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a good day. And bye.